We got 2. And we got 1. Welcome back to the Not Televised Revolution.
I'll bring the beer, you bring the guillotine.
Yeah, we're going to take power back from the powerful somehow. I just saw an amazing video earlier today from the one and only Noam Chomsky. Here it is. It's actually still here. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which one was it? I like to listen to that cat. He's a national treasure for real.
I'm afraid that this is going to steal the episode away from us. It's really, really good. You guys got to see this. Come on, computer.
Mice and hamsters, lend me your tech. Get thee upon the wheel and show me the video.
Okay. So, if you believe me, you can see the address right there. Okay, oh wait, my computer is starting to believe me too. Okay, here we go. I like that.
Freedom itself is a remarkable value.
Can you hear that?
Mark, there were plenty of...
I cannot.
And the regime.
Can you send me the link?
Anarchical society or a society where...
And then I will be able to hear it.
But actually they brought more.
It's Chomsky explaining real anarchism on YouTube.
Oh yes, I've seen that video. It's a good one.
Yeah, I especially like the way you open. Like, he didn't even have to bring up the way people act in disasters to explain that people want to work together. Like, that was masterclass, if you ask me. He didn't even have to bring up disasters. That was good.
Yeah.
That's what I was watching when I was waiting for your call.
I absolutely agree. I kind of arrived to it in a different way than he did. But I am a flagrant anarchist. I don't believe in authority at all. I've kind of gotten past that. I feel there was a time in which I believed the government could be used for the benefit of the people. I still believe that it could be used for the benefit of the people. It hasn't been ever, and so I have serious doubts about it ever being used for the benefit of the people ever.
Yeah.
History tends to show me that that doesn't happen, at least not in the long term.
Not to explain.
I'm playing the video real quick.
Now, it's a pretty broad concept.
Yeah.
In general,
I'm just
the concepts of political discourse are very far from precise. I mean, to try to explain what liberal means or capitalism means, or any term you pick, they're used in highly varied and complex and often contradictory ways, and anarchism is no exception. But I think if you try to find a sort of core themes running through anarchist thought and action, there are some. Basically, it seems to me one should think of anarchism as not a specific set of doctrines, but just a kind of a tendency in human thought and action, which tries to detect and discover structures of authority, domination, and hierarchy, and there are plenty of them, and challenge them. Ask them to demonstrate their legitimacy.
Man, I wish you could have heard that, my dude. I'm sure you've heard him say it before, but like that was anarchism in 20 seconds if I've ever heard it. You know, it's all about challenging systems that are broken. It was dope.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Like, if this isn't working, then we have to take some action to make it better. Just like we did when we freed the slaves, just like we did when we got women the right to vote. You know, we're going to have to go through the same type of struggle all over again.
Well, that's kind of what history is the history of. As far back as we started writing things down and we have them recorded, there is a struggle between people who don't have power and people who do have power. It's been long fought, and it has literally, in the West at least, been going on for 3,800 years of recorded history that I can point to. That, you know, that's real easily backed up.
Right, yeah, no, that's exactly what Noam Chomsky went on to say. Like, we suffer from these platforms of control that don't really have a legitimate reason for controlling us.
Yeah, and like it's all kind of based on the same thing that, you know, a Cro-Magnon in the middle of the jungle eating grubs off a rotten log 50,000 years ago. He got into communities based on fear of the dark, based on fear of being alone, being vulnerable, being you know, this is kind of how cultures develop. It's entirely based upon fear. If you are not inside of this particular bubble, and this is the bubble in which you live in, then, you know, back in the day, you'd be exiled, you'd be thrown out, and that was in essence a death sentence. That
it took me a little bit. I found it on the second page on Bing. Anarchism is the idea about the best way to live. Anarchy is a way of living. They started out fair already. Check that out. Wow. Anarchism is the idea that government, the state, is unnecessary and harmful. Now, they don't talk about anarchy the way Noam Chomsky does, because these labels that we try to give each other, they don't represent what we really think most of the time. You know, that's why you and I agreed on pan-leftist, you know, because okay, I'll take everything on the left. Cool.
I mean, I can completely understand that. I really do. But like I like the idea of pan-leftism, but at the same time, like, you know, there has to be a little bit of temperance applied to it at all.
Right. What I'm saying is the framing that they're putting here in the first sentence is that, you know, with my anarchist tendencies at least, I wouldn't call the unnecessary and harmful. And I don't think most of the anarchists, yeah, that's kind of more of an extreme anarchist, and I don't think there's a bunch of people that think that way. Correct me if I'm wrong, please.
I believe that the state is unnecessary and harmful, except in the situation that we're in right now, we have okay, so last time that we whittled away at the power of the state, a different pillar of society rolled up and took, in essence, control of the same things. At the time, it was the Catholic Church. We whittled away at the power of the state because, because Rome was an aggressive thing. At its core, I feel that that the first psyop was, or not necessarily the first psyop, but an early psyop was framing all of the barbarians that lived all over Europe as barbarians, and that they were just other people, and they were completely savage, and they didn't have any frickin' society whatsoever, and everything like that. When the Vandals, which were a group of people...
bomb-throwing anarchist stereotype was concocted by politicians and journalists in the late 19th century, and they still won't let go of it. But even back then, it was a gross exaggeration.
Yeah. I think that barbarians out on the outskirts of the Roman Empire were people that were, in essence, resisting the state. And when they finally got what they wanted, and they took down the evil empire, and they took out the evil state that was actually fucking with their lives, what happened was the Catholic Church stood up to take on the same role that the friggin' state had been doing up until that point. Well, then the Catholic Church lost its power. We had a Renaissance, and a new thing, the corporation, stepped up to take its place. And now we have kind of a corporate world. And so to say that the state isn't a necessary evil is kind of it's kind of naive. We need it there, but we need it there to be in opposition to both the church, that's enshrined in the Constitution, we all know that, but it also needs to be in opposition to corporations as well, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to get any power, is if the powerful are fighting each other. That's my opinion.
Wow, okay. I apologize.
And that's only my opinion. I don't know if any other anarchists share it. I just sort of came up with this idea on my own.
No,
so
okay. I skipped a paragraph just to keep the reading going. Here we go. Okay, I think this is a good place to pick back up the article. If you can't trust ordinary people not to victimize each other, how can you trust the state not to victimize us all?
That's exactly my point. If I can't trust an office to be powerful, if I can't trust anybody, and I mean anybody, if I can't put you and know for a fact that we're not all going to die in a chair, then, I mean, if we can't trust Trump, or we can't trust Clinton, it doesn't matter what side you're on, you don't trust that person. And if you can't find it in your heart to give that person that much power, you should probably not give anybody that much power. Just saying.
A former roommate of mine said it really, really well. Anarchy? You're afraid of anarchy? You mean that thing where the people with the guns have all the power? That's what we got right now. I was like, damn. I had to clean up the sidewalk after that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. That's the essence of it. Why we keep organizing ourselves into larger and larger and more deadly groups.
Yeah.
And ideologically we need to break past that. I think that without us doing that, if no matter what, like we're still basically just serfs in the Middle Ages.
Oh, okay. When you think about it, everyday life is almost entirely anarchist. Voluntary arrangements and understanding prevail almost everywhere. As an anarchist, Rudolf Rocker wrote, "The fact that even under the worst despotism, most of man's personal relations with his fellows are arranged by free agreement and solidaric cooperation, without which social life would not be possible at all." So, word up, my dude. Anarchy is like our true nature. You know what I mean? That's what we had, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what we grew up on. We could still do it. We used to do it.
It really isn't all that far. Anarchy is that moment in the woods that you spent with your boys when you were in middle school.
Right.
Anarchy is, I mean, some of those encounters were violent. Let's be honest, but the vast majority of them weren't. It's just boys having fun.
Yeah, it's called living life, right? I mean,
that's it. That's it. Now we probably don't have that even in the woods nowadays. We probably have a camera up under every fucking pine cone.
Cool. I got to the end of the article that I have on the screen, and it's anarchism has always attracted generous and creative spirits who have enriched our culture. And then it lists off a bunch of artists. Yay! Hey, I see you didn't bring any good news. Remember last episode I was like, let's have some good news? There's people out there that understand anarchy.
Yeah. You know, there was a piece of good news this week that I saw, and I was like, I should bring that up. And then I got stoned and I forgot. But it was pretty fucking decent news. It really was.
Well, I hope everyone was high, but nobody missed it.